Maybe it's time to start over. It's a great way to sort of regain your bearings, and on occasion return to the part of the game that had a little more steam. I mean, everyone remembers their first quest, but not everyone remembers their 101st. There's a certain charm to the early hours of a game, the sort where discovery is new and feels fresh. And as you get more and more familiar with the game's unique quirks, sometimes some of that charm is lost when you can fast travel anywhere. Or maybe you just screwed up. Everywhere you turn, you're met with Caesar's Legion, ready to beat you senseless with your own 9-iron, because just once you decided to be the good guy and free a couple slaves. Starting over creates the opportunity to fix your mistakes, or at least try to do something different. Maybe this time you'll save Good Springs, get the dynamite from Easy Pete, and try to do everything you can. Or maybe you'll just do what you always do. Why else would there be so many memes about becoming a stealthy archer in another Skyrim playthrough? There's comfort in doing the same thing over and over again, making minor changes and, in a way, optimizing a character, and playing your role better and better like an actor learning his lines over the course of a 50-hour playthrough. Bethesda games of the Xbox 360 generation absolutely relished in this. They were designed to be these huge RPGs, sure, but they were also designed to be played over and over again. Experimenting and making different choices often led to more content and different experiences, which as a result leads to different stories told between gamers and better word-of-mouth marketing. That's part of the reason why there was a tinge of disappointment when I finished Fallout 4 for the first time. It was kind of obvious that minor factions aside, there was barely any reward for doing something entirely different. Here's an example. When I was doing my 4th or 5th playthrough of New Vegas, I decided to try and play as I thought Dexter Morgan would. I was maybe a little too into a show that would eventually disappoint me, but regardless, I was rewarded with the option to do so at least to a certain extent. My character didn't really look like him, but it got the job done. In college, when I was watching the Star Trek original series for the first time, I decided to attempt to play Fallout 4 as Captain Kirk. I didn't make it very far, at least partially because there weren't enough hot aliens to hit on, but also because having a voice protagonist and less defined role-playing tools made it at least a little tricky to play a character who didn't sound like John Hamm.
War never changes.
At the end of the day, part of the appeal is the robust character building with great skills and perks, not necessarily a great character customization where you can create whatever celebrity you want. Even games like Borderlands create that tangible appeal. With about everyone in the series on release, I've torn through the first few hours with one character, only to switch and try another. Starting over is great as I know a little more of A, what kind of challenges I'm going to face, and B, how the character building refines how I want to face those challenges. That's how I handled Borderlands 1 by switching from Soldier to Hunter, and 2 from Commando to Gunzerker, and 3 from Gunner to Beastmaster. Was it necessary to completely start over? No, not really, but that's how I've come to appreciate the series' little RPG perks and quirks alongside its rewarding loot system. Similarly, that's part of why Apex Legends got its hooks into me last year. At a low skill level like where I play at, every round is somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes and feels pretty dependent on luck. Maybe you'll get the purple armor, the right gun attachments, and a big bag full of goodies to give you a fighting chance. And maybe you'll get lucky enough to have a squad that's cool and capable. Or maybe you'll get knocked down before you even have a gun. But regardless, a restart is mere minutes away, giving ample opportunity to try again. I recognize at least partially that this is almost the exact reason why indie roguelikes and roguelites have peppered Steam bestseller lists since Spelunky clawed its way to the surface in 2008. People like the idea of trying again and building a skill through trial and error that's 50% luck and 50% skill. And in the case of roguelites that I've gotten into in the past year or so, like Loop Hero and Hades, I really appreciate the clean separation between story and gameplay, where progression and resource management happens outside of the main gameplay loop, and balance is purely starting over from scratch and a tangible sense of progress. In addition, Loop Hero allows for you to retreat wherever you are at the cost of some of your resource acquisitions. It gives me a little extra level of control and a more casual environment for a game that impresses as almost an idle game. I really like Loop Hero. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, if we're talking about a young warrior trapped in a constant loop, forced to overcome a great evil and insurmountable odds, then well, it can't hurt to bring up Majora's Mask, a game that's one of the most pure examples of the satisfaction of starting over. Link, like myself, is made constantly aware of the ever-present march forward of time, with all of the existential dread that comes with that. And unlike me, who has to deal with it at nights while I lay in bed and on my way to work, Link can handily redo the last 3 days, or, if he wants to, just let the moon crash into us, and let it all end. Oof, sorry, that got a little dark. Similar to Loop Hero, some progression is maintained, and the player is given at least some control in when the loop starts and ends. But Majora's Mask, having a larger, more fleshed out world, drives that home with a repeating dialogue and a near identical flow of days each time, in a way that mimics that one movie, Happy Death Day. It's a great, unique gameplay structure that no one except maybe Deathloop has really mimicked properly. But when I think of starting over in Zelda, I think more of my relationship with Ocarina within the first 10 or so years of me playing it. Up until recently, I'd never been much further than the Water Temple. For whatever reason, I sought out Ocarina for its opening moments, and the direct nostalgia I felt from watching my brother play it when I was like 6 or 7. It took until 2019 for me to finish it all the way through, over 20 years after it had been released, but there's something really special about playing as young Link and running around Hyrule and Kakariko Village. Those early moments, when things were simple, and the field of possibilities seemed, at least to a naive kid like me, like they were endless. But as you go along and things get darker, returning to the brighter days isn't always as easy as putting the sword back where it goes. And in real life, starting over isn't necessarily as simple as hitting new game, but that certainly hasn't stopped me from trying. Hey, I'm Evan, and this is Luckstat, a new channel dedicated to telling stories, looking at problems, and uncovering secrets about video games. For the past 7 years, I worked alongside my best friends at 1117 Studios, making content I'm genuinely proud of. I still help out over there sometimes, but this is me starting over. For the sake of refining the edges a little bit, of picking the right starter, of doing something that I have complete ownership over, and really, just to see if I could. So for right now, I would appreciate it if you hit subscribe and got started with me at the beginning of this journey, because maybe it's time we start over.